For decades, the stories of women who love women flickered at the edges of the cinematic frame. They were often conveyed through coded glances, subtextual longing, and tragic endings. This was a cinema of whispers, where sapphic love was a secret to be deciphered, not a truth to be celebrated. Films from the early days, like Germany's from 1931, were rare and brave exceptions in a landscape governed by censorship and societal disapproval. For a long time, if a woman's love for another woman was shown at all, it was usually punished by the film's end, reinforcing the harmful idea that such love was doomed and unnatural. Seeing ourselves on screen was a complicated, often painful experience. Representation is more than just seeing a familiar face. It is a profound act of validation. It tells us that our lives, our loves, and our experiences are real and worthy of being told. When you grow up rarely, if ever, seeing your identity reflected positively in the media you consume, it can create a deep sense of isolation. It sends a message that you are on the outside, that your story doesn't matter to the wider world. The slow, hard-fought journey to bring authentic sapphic stories to the forefront is a testament to the power of community and the unyielding demand to be seen and heard. This fight has been about transforming those whispers into proud, unapologetic shouts. The struggle for visibility has been long and arduous, marked by small victories that slowly chipped away at the silence. Independent films like from 1985 were groundbreaking, offering a narrative with a happy ending, which was honestly a radical concept at the time. Later, films like from 1999, initially dismissed by mainstream critics, were embraced by queer audiences for their campy charm and earnest heart. These foundational movies became lifelines for many, creating a sense of shared culture and history. They laid the groundwork for future creators, proving that there was an audience hungry for stories that centered women who love women, without apology or tragedy. Today, we stand on the shoulders of those who dared to tell our stories when it was riskiest. The evolution from coded suggestion to explicit central narratives marks a monumental shift in cultural acceptance and artistic freedom. While the path has been anything but linear, the progress is undeniable. The presence of sapphic characters is no longer confined to the shadows or independent art houses. Our stories are beginning to take their rightful place in the mainstream conversation, reaching wider audiences than ever before and demonstrating the universal power of love in all its forms. This journey from invisibility to visibility is a powerful chapter in our ongoing story. In recent years, the landscape of Sapphic cinema has undergone a thrilling transformation. We have moved beyond the confines of the somber historical drama, a genre that once seemed to be the only home for our stories. Today, Sapphic narratives are exploding across every conceivable genre, proving that our lives are not a monolith. From the bloody neon-soaked thrills of the action movie to the laugh-out-loud absurdity of the teen comedy, queer women are finally getting to be the heroes, the villains, the clowns, and everything in between. This expansion is a vital step forward, showing the world that our identities are just one part of our complex, multifaceted human experience. This newfound creative freedom has given rise to a wave of films that are not just inclusive but artistically bold and specific. The subversive high school comedy from 2023 centers on two unabashedly lesbian protagonists, whose chaotic schemes drive the entire plot. It's a film that refuses to ask for permission, celebrating its characters' queerness with irreverent humor. Similarly, the erotic thriller from 2024 has been hailed as a milestone for its intense, unapologetic depiction of a lesbian relationship steeped in sweat, muscle, and danger. These films are not simply about the struggle of being gay. They are thrilling, funny, and complex stories where the main characters just happen to be women who love women. The progress isn't limited to the big screen. Television has also become a fertile ground for developing rich, long-form sapphic narratives. Animated shows like have allowed the beloved relationship between Harley and Poison Ivy to blossom into one of the most stable and celebrated pairings in modern comics media. Young adult series such as are exploring sapphic awakenings with a tenderness and nuance that resonates deeply with younger audiences. These shows provide ongoing representation, allowing viewers to grow with the characters and see their relationships evolve over time, a luxury that was once unthinkable for queer storylines. This flourishing of genre and tone signifies more than just an increase in quantity, it reflects a crucial shift towards centering the lesbian gaze. For too long our stories were told by others, often for others. Now with more queer women behind the camera and in the writer's room, we are seeing narratives that feel authentic to our lived experiences. They capture the specific joys, fears, and desires of our community with an intimacy that can only come from within. This artistic evolution is not just giving us more stories, it is giving us our stories, told in our own voices, and that is a truly revolutionary act. Despite this exciting progress, significant challenges continue to cast a shadow over Sapphic cinema. The industry is still grappling with its long history of harmful tropes and stereotypes that reduce complex characters to one-dimensional clichés. We still see the predatory lesbian, the tragic queer, or the sapphic character who exists merely as a token to tick a diversity box. Her storyline underdeveloped and her identity serving only to spice up a heteronormative plot. These portrayals are not just lazy storytelling, they reinforce damaging misconceptions in the real world and signal to queer audiences that their full humanity is not yet welcome on screen. One of the most persistent and insidious problems is the male gaze. This is when our stories, and specifically our intimacy, are framed through a lens designed for heterosexual male viewers. The infamous film is a key example, criticized for its long, explicit sex scenes that many felt prioritized a voyeuristic perspective over emotional authenticity. This issue persists today. Even a recent film like from 2024, while exploring themes relevant to women, has been critiqued for its focus on the female form in a way that feels geared toward a male audience, sidelining the potential for a genuine sapphic narrative in favor of spectacle. Furthermore, the film industry remains a difficult place for LGBTQ+ creators to navigate. Queer filmmakers, especially women, trans people, and people of color, face significant barriers to getting their projects made. Securing funding, finding supportive studios, and gaining widespread distribution are immense hurdles. Many executives still view sapphic stories as niche or risky investments, failing to recognize the large and dedicated audience that is eager for this content. This gatekeeping not only limits the number of queer films that get produced, but also often forces creators to compromise their vision, watering down their stories to make them more palatable to a perceived mainstream heterosexual audience. This leads to a critical lack of diversity within sapphic stories themselves. The narratives that do get made overwhelmingly center on white, cisgender, able-bodied, and conventionally attractive women. The rich, intersecting experiences of sapphic women of color, trans women, disabled women, and others remain severely underrepresented. Groundbreaking films like, and the more recent, are vital but remain exceptions rather than the rule. Without a conscious and sustained effort to fund and promote these stories, Sapphic cinema will fail to reflect the true, beautiful diversity of our community, leaving too many of us still searching for ourselves on screen. The rise of streaming services has been a game-changer for the accessibility of Sapphic cinema. Platforms like Netflix, Max, and Tubi have become digital archives, giving new life to classic queer films and making them available to audiences who might never have had the chance to see them otherwise. A film like from 2015, a modern classic, can find a home on a free service like Tubi, allowing anyone with an internet connection to experience its beauty. This unprecedented access helps build a shared cultural vocabulary and introduces a new generation to the foundational texts of our cinematic history, creating a stronger, more informed audience for queer storytelling. These platforms are not just repositories for old favorites, they are also crucial venues for new and diverse content. In early 2025, a viewer could easily find the ongoing adventures of Harley and Ivy on Max, watch a young woman's journey of self-discovery on Netflix, or check out a new sapphic romance like on Peacock. Streaming provides a space for stories that might be considered too niche for a wide theatrical release, allowing for more experimental, personal, and intersectional narratives to find their audience. This direct-to-consumer model bypasses some of the traditional gatekeepers, creating a more democratic landscape where viewership numbers can prove the viability of our stories. The path forward requires a commitment to championing stories that reflect the full spectrum of the sapphic experience. It is not enough to simply have more queer characters. We need more Black lesbians, more Asian trans women, more indigenous two-spirit people, and more disabled queer women as the protagonists of their own stories. Films like From 2023, which explores love across generations and cultures, are exactly what we need more of. Authenticity is key, which means supporting queer creators and giving them the resources and creative freedom to tell their own stories without compromise. True representation is about celebrating both our shared identity and our unique individual differences. Ultimately, telling more honest and diverse Sapphic stories is not just important for our community, it is important for everyone. Cinema has the power to foster empathy by inviting audiences into lives and experiences different from their own. When a straight viewer connects with the love story in, or laughs along with the antics in, it breaks down barriers and builds bridges of understanding. These stories enrich our collective culture, challenging outdated norms and expanding our definition of who gets to be the hero. The future of Sapphic cinema is bright, and by continuing to demand and create authentic representation, we ensure that every whisper becomes a roar,